Am I the butthole for suing my girlfriend after she had my 1967 Impala project taken to the scrapyard? I'll try to keep this short. I had a that I bought in February 2019. A couple months ago, I bought my first house that had a 2.5-car garage. I moved the car in and started tearing it down for a complete restoration. I had the body in one bay and the chassis in another, plus the whole garage filled with parts. About 2 months ago, my girlfriend came to live with me during this whole crisis and the whole time has hated that car. She wants to park in the garage, but I have 2 acres of land with a lot of nice places to park under shady trees, or hell even in the barn if it has to be inside. I tell her tough luck, it's my house, and it's not like I can just throw it back together real quick. Anyways, I was out of town for a couple days on a business trip for the small local company I work for. When I got back, my girlfriend was all smiles, making me food all the time, doing all the chores, all that. I thought maybe she just was happy to have me home, but then I realized that I didn't see her car in its usual spot. I asked her where she parked so I could make sure I mow that area and keep it clean, and she said not to worry because she parked in the garage. I asked how and she told me to go check it out. Turns out that while I was gone, she hired some people to come over and move everything related to that car, including the drivetrain, body, and chassis and all parts, and take it to the local dump/scrapyard. I was absolutely dumbfounded. I had spent over $11,000 on that car, including new parts, services, and the car itself. I told her that I was going to be taking her to court for that, and she brushed me off like I was being dramatic. I told her that it's done between us and to pack her things and leave. I admit I was really angry, but I did end up getting a lawyer, and as I have all the receipts for all that money spent, and I have her on my house's security cam footage letting the guys in and watching them take it all, I think I can win. Her family and friends are absolutely blowing me up, saying it's just a stupid old piece of junk and that she cannot pay back all that money I spent and that I should just let it go. But I have been putting all my time, effort, and money into that car for 1.5 years now, and goddamn it if I am not going to get justice for what she did. Am I the butthole? Edit. Thank you all so much for the support and awards and everything. I'm glad I have some people on my side. I got a call from her mom about 20 minutes ago, and she told me that I was ruining her daughter's life over a stupid car. I told her she ruined her own life. I've been gathering documentation and stuff, and I'm about to head down to the police station and file a report, as suggested by Lots here. Once again, thank you all. Update. Went to the police station last night, was told to come back in the morning. Just got back and filed an official report against her for grand larceny and grand theft auto. I showed them all the receipts I had for the car and the footage of her letting the guys come and take it, as well as the title for the vehicle in my name. They said they will be in contact with all 3 parties, me, XGF, and junkyard guys, soon, and they will hopefully be able to recover some or all of the car. Just have to wait now. Huge update. They found my goddamn car. The junkyard guys apparently were in the middle of hiding it when the police came to ask them questions. It was on a forklift, and they were going to put it on top of a pile of cars that was hidden behind more piles of cars. They said it was theirs, and they had the title, but obviously didn't have the title for it, and since they matched the VIN on the chassis and body to the VIN on my title, it was obviously mine. I know at least one person there has been arrested. I think he was in the camera footage I talked about earlier, but if it was the boss or whomever, or even his specific charge. They also told me they would be looking into this specific junkyard for any other vehicles reported stolen. They said they haven't been able to get in contact with my ex just yet, but they're working on it. I'm just so glad they found my car. Luckily, I made quite an album of pictures detailing me tearing down the car, and so I can use that to prove what parts they had were mine, so I can hopefully get most or all of it back. Police haven't let me take it back home yet, as they say it is evidence or something, so hopefully I can get it back eventually. Thank you all so much for the support and advice. Self-harm's gonna be LRIs. Am I the butthole for pretending to get fired when customers get a temper with me? I am a high schooler with a weekend job at a coffee shop. My coworkers who work weekends are James, the owner's son. He goes to my school. He's a shift manager, but it's not a real formal thing. He's a friendly guy. Danielle, a college student who sometimes works weekends too. So sometimes customers will come in and just be angry about such little stuff, like literally blow up about nothing. I'd know if they're in a bad mood already and looking for someone to take it out on or what, but it's a lot. Like how sad so you have to be a grown-ass man taking your anger out on high school and college kids. So James and I were joking about having a little fun with them and hopefully getting them off our backs. So one day I was at work and some guy was having a temper about how we don't make the coffee hot enough, which I couldn't do a thing about because I gave it to him right out of the machine. So James came in and was like, "Sir, is there a problem here?" And the guy started ranting at him too. So he was just like, "Original poster. This is unacceptable. You're fired." I started acting real sad, like, "No, please don't fire me. My family needs the money. I need this job, please." And he played up being a hard ass, telling me to take off my apron and leave. The angry guy started to backtrack, like, "It isn't that big of a problem. You don't need to fire her over it. I didn't mean it." And James was like, "No, we pride ourselves on the best customer service." Of course, after all that drama, I still had my job. We were just acting. And we've done it a couple times. Whenever a customer will lose their temper at Danielle or I, James will storm in and fire us. And almost every time, the person who had come in angry will apologize and say that they didn't mean it. It's kind of satisfying, making people realize their actions might actually have consequences. Anyway, I was telling my friends from school about this, and a few of them thought it was a mean prank to let someone go away thinking they'd gotten someone who desperately needs the money fired. Am I the butthole for this joke? Am I the butthole for bringing up my brother's premature birth at Christmas dinner to get my parents to shut up? I am a nurse practitioner and I am the primary care provider for a lot of the low-risk maternity cases at the practice where I work. I also work hand in hand with the doctors and midwives to create a healthy maternity, birth, and postpartum situation. My fiancée is completing her residency. We live together and have for a few years now. We aren't in any hurry to get married. We originally had plans to do so a couple of years ago, but then we got really busy for 2 years. It is driving my very religious parents crazy that their youngest son is living in sin. I don't really care. I'm an adult and I do what I want. We are getting married in June, so we are visiting my parents for Christmas. The way it came together this year, everyone is at my parents' house. So that's my folks, my 3 siblings, myself and fiancé, and 7 grandchildren. So 17 people. At dinner, my mom starts going on about how she is so glad that we are finally getting married, and she won't be embarrassed at church anymore. And my dad says how proud he is of his 3 older kids who all either waited to get married before moving in together, or got married right away after moving in together. My fiancé was getting embarrassed and I was getting mad over this stupid argument we have had too many times. And a family dinner was the last straw. I have asked them repeatedly to just accept that they cannot control how I live my life. I refuse to stay with them when I visit, even if I come alone. Hotels are just easier. So I started talking about a premature baby I had been reading about. It was almost 3 months premature and weighed about 1.6 pounds. It was super strong and healthy for being born so little, and the NICU had high hopes for the baby doing well. My mom and dad both got deer in the headlights looks on their faces. Too bad. Should not have fucked around with my fiancé's feelings. So I asked about my oldest brother. He was born almost 4 months premature. Is there a chance that we could check out the family album where we keep all the records of family births and stuff? I already know my brother was over 9 pounds and almost 23-inch long when he was born. My grandmother told me all about it the first time my parents tried to shame me. The subject gets changed very fast. After supper, my parents told me that I should not try to embarrass them with private things that are not my concern. I told them that if I heard anything about my living arrangements ever again for the rest of my life, I would make sure to keep bringing up the fact that my mom was in her 2nd trimester when they got married. My parents are mad at me for telling them how to behave in their own home. But my fiancé is happy that they seem to be off the subject for good. Am I the butthole? Update. Would I be the butthole if I took over planning my own funeral for my very religious parents? Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you all for the kind words, support, and love that everyone has offered and given. These weeks have been the most difficult I have ever experienced, and it is with great sadness that I tell you all that my beautiful and cat-crazy wife has passed. I've had to cut this short due to character limits. Sorry, all. But she did leave all of you a note. Read it? I've copied everything verbatim below. She truly loved everyone and was smiling so much after her first post. I'll take my leave here. Much love. Reddit. If you're reading this, I am dead. Pretty crazy to be talking to a dead person. It feels a bit strange to be writing this. If this feels a bit disconnected, I'm sorry. I have to take frequent breaks as I get tired pretty quickly now. My husband offered to write these words. Such a sweet ham. I know. Be nice to him, okay? But I wanted my last words to be written by me. Long story short, we talked to my parents. A lot of people asked about why my husband wasn't planning the funeral and my parents were taking control. Honestly, my parents didn't take the news of my passing to come well, and I suppose their closure was to try and take control of what they could. I'm not angry at them for it, I understand. They had already prepaid a large portion of the service, and to put it plain and simple, it was a crap hand they were dealt. So, we talked to them. I laid it all out for them and somehow, we reached a compromise. Lots of tears, lots of hugs, and surprisingly, lots of laughs. They admitted that they had been losing their faith with everything that had happened, and their way to attempt to find it again was to take control and guide me into the afterlife. Not my thing though, and I explained that I am not them, but their daughter who wanted to live her last weeks in peace, not the turmoil they were putting me through. And while a lot of people stated that funerals are for the living, true, I firmly believe that a funeral is for the living to remember that person as who they were, not what anyone else wanted them to be. My parents seemed to understand when I told them that. They were not on board with the party favor aspect though, kind of a bummer. Pretty lucky to plan my own funeral, honestly. But now that is all said and done. Thank you guys. I was blown away by the responses. I was moved to tears and I wish I had the chance to meet every single one of you. You all be good now, aight? Take it one day at a time and fucking enjoy yourself. You only get one life. Unless you're someone who has survived death, then you're just a fucking hero and probably a cat with a few lives to spare. I love you all. I'm resting easy now. This disease sucks and I'm happy to be rid of it. And laugh and love and cry and be sad. Crap happens. I've got to go now. I'm gonna go snuggle my husband and my cats. Keep it real, Reddit. Love you all.